ちらの展開について彼は全てのコスメの最下位ですばかり。隅の重みを深くです。普通は鳥の残儀だけでこの武将を読み取るに大丈夫ないです。けど、お前も皆目返したいだけだ。私はそれを世話します。
Man, how did they commentated 8 a.m. and now 8 p.m. Then I'm pulling work for 6 hours. Yippee!
I think we're live right now.
Are we actually? Oh.
Yeah. It's okay, it's okay. Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Oceania Long No 4th edition. We are back with one of the first matches that we got on Saturday. We hope you enjoyed that little show match that we had about 13 hours ago now. We're going to be throwing it back with the real bracket this time around. We're going to be having two formidable forces facing off against each other to see who's going to be eliminated. And this is going to be a very insane match. Going to be seeing Seed 6 Veloce going up against Seed 16 Stereotype. And this is literally a match of which you literally think to yourself, like, how both these players are even in the losers bracket, because they are just that insane, even with the whole 10-seed difference. But they are here to settle the deal on who's going to be remaining in the tournament for the conditionals tomorrow, between who's going to be facing Kakawe or Knights of Mare, depending on who wins. But before we get into that, as usual, I'm your host, Epic Man 2, and joining alongside is going to be none other than Leon. What is rockin'?
Doing good. Thanks for having us. And as you mentioned, this is one of the matches of the weekend. These two players, absolute powerhouse in them. Just generally, absolutely go-to players. Actually, very interesting. Very interested to see how this match goes.
Yeah, indeed. Both these players have come a long way since the start, since it has been quite a solid few weeks since the tournament had began, and just seeing them here in the late game, or at least approaching the late game, and where they have to literally just seal the deal in one another's lives, is definitely going to be dangerous to watch, because they have been fighting their way throughout this whole.
To say the least. A little bit of an issue at the moment, but we'll let our streamer fix this.
Yeah. It does seem like the
roles have been decided already, actually, so we can just commentate on that. So it seems Veloce has protected Technical Tree and banned Coordination 2. Meanwhile, Stereotype protecting Coordination 1 and banning Density 1, actually. Very interesting. Quite surprised. You would expect Stereotype to be very confident in density-related stuff. It seems like they have decided to ban Density because Veloce is also very physical, able to handle all of these maps with ease.
Yeah, exactly. The Density 1 is definitely one of, if not the most physical density map that we have on the board. And yeah, does seem like Wildcard 1 gets the first pick of the board, so gonna be none other than Veloce's pick here. So definitely a bit of an interesting map to start off with, because of how this is like probably one of the most difficult maps that we have on the board. I mean, this is leaning in more into the tech category, in my opinion, than the wildcard, but it has a lot of base patterns that are just like thrown into the mix to be able to ensure difficulty is at least on the horizon here.
It's generally how these LNs, the LN releases, very technical, but at the same time it incorporates so many different kinds of these LN walls, LN inverse kind of design that just lands in wildcard. And starting off here, these players, hello, neck and neck at the moment, just 0.03% of difference.
Yeah, exactly. Going through this rap section, there's still like a lot of patterns that both these players need to try their best to act through because this map is kind of reliant on when it comes to brute force in general, so it really incorporates a lot of these really dense dump patterns that you'd usually see in quite a bunch of Imperial's maps in general, and even then, it doesn't seem like the score is really that far. It's really close between both these players. We can see as Stereotype only just ekes out about a few hundred points in their advantage, going past the first third of the map.
Yeah, but Veloce taking a small hit, and so is Stereotype. These 200s very easy to come out from any players. The map slowing down a little bit here, but still far from over. We just passed one of the map. And just generally, this map just doesn't let up at all. Even these slower sections, the releases, the lengths of these elements are all different.
Yeah, exactly. It's really adding on to that challenging department where you kind of just want maps where you can at least have the luxury of throwing off your opponent on, because especially for ACK connoisseurs as these two players are, it's going to be really important that both these players can at least catch each other out.
That is
with
a miss.
Yeah.
That is a miss from Stereotype. That is massive. Very clean, but the lead is in Veloce's favor now. 4,000 points.
Yeah, that's a very fatal first drop from the side of Stereotype. Definitely something that you don't want going into a map like this where it is one of the longest maps, and even if you do have the fact that, you know, there's a lot of nodes in the map, so you can at least bleed out a few misses if you do have the advantage. But the thing is that, like, when it comes to maps like this, it's really just about trying to keep your consistency, because if your opponent is the one in the lead in terms of combo, then it really just sets you further apart from them. And this is exactly what Veloce was looking to overtake when it comes to this map alone.
Yeah, Veloce is just very, very consistent. And this map, a bit of a slower section here. Only one part remaining last quarter. And oh, that trill is nasty, catching Stereotype off guard here. And the lead will keep continuing to build. Lost ever so slightly dropping the accuracy, 7.72, but that is still an absurd run by them. Stereotype doing all they can. Both of their UR are so centered, but if nothing happens, Veloce will take this first point.
Yeah, in which it's going to be looking to be a very solid first point from the side of Veloce to be able to try and at least make that bold impression they really need to make going into the match like this, where they're going to need to start trying to accumulate as much points as they can. They want to be able to ensure that Stereotype is at least a little further away from the equation here. But at the same time, even outside of this map, Stereotype does have a lot of fighting chance when it comes to other picks, such as maybe the density maps, for example, which I wouldn't be surprised if they were to at least try and choose into, like, after this map in response, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And the last miss, sealing the deal here. Veloce with a 9-200 FC, a bit over 5-1, 5.5-1 ratio. Actually, Stereotype getting an ever so slightly lead on the racial department, but just overall, Veloce has that advantage in these, like, more faster, harder maps.
Yeah, and it does seem like we're going to be having Coordination 1 being picked out from Stereotype, so very solid pick in my opinion. I know that Stereotype is really good when it comes to some of these more release-oriented maps, because this is basically, like I mentioned in the previous stream, this is literally a endangered species when it comes to tournament LN maps, because basically this is the type of stuff that you would have seen back in maybe 2020 when it comes to tournaments. Like, this is stuff that we haven't really brought out in about 5 years, but this is something that a lot of players have been capitalizing off of, which is literally something that's really surprising to be honest.
Yeah, especially from my perspective, these kinds of maps were very common Coordination 1 or LN1 picks back in 2020-21, and seeing them come back now, you have this dynamic of players back then still available now will be able to play these maps, but newer players 2-3 years ago wouldn't be able to handle these kind of maps as easily as them.
Yeah, exactly. And we can definitely see that both players do manage a bit well with this one. It's just that Stereotype just does have the better end of the stick, just going off of having less misjudges than Veloce on the other hand. But even then, Stereotype's still not entirely invulnerable to these patterns either. Still bleeding out some misjudgments through some of these short lens as well. Some of these really odd, just precise releases. And the first miss comes out from their side as well.
But Veloce is tanking a lot of accuracy. These Allen releases are brutal. Stereotype still has the accuracy lead, but the miss is giving Veloce the lead right now. And we're already over halfway. It's a very short map.
Yeah, and with a little amount of notes, misses mean a lot more in maps like this where there's just less notes in comparison.
Yeah, I totally agree. Stereotype doing all they can to push the accuracy, sharp shooting as much as they can. You can see that UR bar dead centered. The lead is fully coming back under 4,000 now.
Yeah, so far, even if there was that one miss, Stereotype is not entirely out of the woods just yet, as Veloce is still probably prone to at least one more miss to be able to give it back over to their side, but at the same time, time is running out for this map already. It's pointing at 10 o'clock on the timer on top, and so far, it doesn't seem like Veloce has been bleeding as much as Stereotype has in the previous two maps. So if this does end up going into a breakpoint in their favor, this can definitely be a bit of a tricky situation for Stereotype.
Yeah, no one would ever want to be in that position, losing their breakpoint. But the map coming to a close, Veloce will hold their FC, stealing this breakpoint from Stereotype. Absolutely crazy scores from these players. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, a very crucial one as well. Veloce wants to be able to accumulate as many points as they can to start the match to be able to ensure that they are in the lead, and so they have a safety cushion for in case Stereotype does accumulate points, because Stereotype is definitely a player which is very scary when it comes to LN patterns, and we have seen it time and time again, so seems like Veloce is going to be picking into density too. I'm not entirely sure what to think of this map, in my opinion.
Not too sure either. Like, Stereotype definitely can challenge in density apartment, but Veloce just generally has that higher, ever so slightly higher skill ceiling. So he is very comfortable in these density picks, these BPM, and that will show in their accuracies here.
Yeah, exactly. This is a map that, in comparison to all the other density maps that we have on the board, it's basically the more technical one, so to say. This one does come or originate from the Squid Game qualifiers from about 2.5 years ago at this point. So it really does incorporate a lot of these really technical density patterns as well that can throw a lot of people off if you are at least prone to making mistakes or chokes on these more flam or density. Well, these flam and more technical patterns, so to say, really.
Yeah, just the nature of the song. So far, both neck and neck, but Stereotype with another very clean miss, but that will give Veloce the instant lead right now. And the patterning just doesn't let up. Oh, that's another miss from them.
Yeah, 2 misses, and that's not going to be saving face for Stereotype. Unfortunately, as the story goes, Veloce does their best to try and FC. They have been making a really solid impression going into this whole match alone, being able to FC the previous few maps that we have seen on the board and not really showing much weakness when it comes to any of these parents. Even with some bleeding here and there, they're not managing to throw any chokes as much as Stereotype has.
And Stereotype just, unfortunately, some of these density is very awkward to hit, just catching them off guard, getting a lot of bad judgments here. And this seems to be a very good call for Veloce. This is the biggest score lead we have seen so far, 24,000. There needs to be a nuke on Veloce's side if this were to be Stereotype's chance to pick this point. And going to this last PI, if nothing happens, this will just be Veloce's win.
Yeah, exactly. And if anything, it's going to be looking like a pretty clean victory and a clean point for Veloce as well. Not having to worry about too much. They can basically just let go of the keyboard now, maybe. And then they'll be able to still win. But at the same time, it's kind of looking a little dire. So far, it's 3-0 in favor of Veloce, as we can see, and it's really just down to Stereotype to at least try and get some points because they had 3 good maps where they could have fought, but it's just the consistency that really held them back by a bit.
Yeah, for sure. As mentioned, Veloce just has that higher skill ceiling, and you can look at that 152, 100s. They were very close to missing, but I don't think it would have mattered in the end, given how strong his ratio compared to Stereotype here. Yeah, let's not forget, Veloce throughout this entire tournament, really, and in his career, has been known to be very, very consistent in terms of FCing maps. So Stereotype really, really has to pick these more, not to say less physical maps, and just try their best to just combo their way and let their accuracy carry.
Absolutely, and we can definitely see this as it does seem like Stereotype is going to be picking into Coordination 3, which I believe people are going to kind of get used to the fact that this is a little bit more of a timing hell oriented map in the map pool. So kind of just picking up on the roots that would have been laid on the ground from last round in quarterfinals where we had, oh my goodness, what was the one? Oh god.
It was the Shoe 17 map.
Yeah, it was Heart Breath. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We are reaching that level of coordination. And back into this match, Veloce actually starting a bit shaky, but managing to climb back to 0.73. And look at Stereotype. Absolutely sharp shooting right now, but they need to calm down a bit. They need to hold on consistently throughout this entire map.
Yeah, exactly. I feel this is probably going to be the point where the nerves are probably going to just arise within Stereotype's veins because when it comes to being down by about 3 points in a match, this is the point where you're going to have to try your best, or at least try and calm down, ensure you can at least get some points from here on, because if you aren't if you aren't in the best state, then this can definitely be a pretty big weakness for you, as we do have Stereotype in with the better accuracy overall by about 0.03%, but at the same time, but there's still vulnerability showcasing on some of these releases, going to be a little early and late here.
Yeah, the accuracy over time starting to creep in. Veloce building back close to 0.8 now, close to Stereotype score. And this entire match actually is just one breakpoint of difference. So Stereotype just needs to keep holding on, just keep holding on. And this map, we're not even halfway through. This is such an insanely long map.
Indeed, and the other funny thing is it's literally only on 1.05 rate. So,
oh my gosh.
The score is getting even closer.
Veloce has just been building ever since the start of the map. No! And no! There's a miss from Stereotype. Another very clean miss, but that is all Veloce needs for this. He just needs one small mistake from Stereotype to build this lead.
Yeah, exactly, and this is something that Stereotype was doing their best in, but not being able to encapsulate it as best as they could, even with the effort they have been putting in throughout this whole tournament so far. This is going to be looking really dangerous for them if they can't at least manage to get a single point out of this one, because Veloce has been shining so brightly throughout this whole match, literally as bright as Limbo at this point. So if Stereotype can't at least accumulate a single point from this match, it might be over if Veloce makes it nearly to match point here.
Yeah, it's that 1/3 of the map. There is still that slight chance Veloce could slip up on any of this map. This patterning is not easy to hit at all. These shields, bombardments of shields, which will catch Stereotype instead. Another clean miss, but that will just build the lead even more. How is his accuracy still 0.7?
Honestly, I have no idea. These players are just playing out of their minds right here.
This is easily Stereotype's best run so far in this match. So we can say the same thing for Veloce. Veloce reaching at 6,000 combo. And that is a miss.
Oh.
That is a miss from them. But it's not enough. It's very clean.
Yeah, that's looking to be a pretty bad miss, but at the same time, it's a little late in the map already. So unless we see even more chokes from the side of Veloce, then it could definitely swing the lead back. But I doubt that he's going to be giving it up that willingly on Snake Eyes.
Yeah, oh my goodness, these players, they hit those bombardments of Jack patterning really well. And their ratios,
The
literally the
ratios.
same.
It's just the misjudgments that set the two apart.
Really, it really was Stereotype picking those 200s. Definitely pick those along with those misses. So very, very close. Great attempt from them. But that will be yet another breakpoint for Veloce. And we are now at 4-0.
Indeed, and we do have Wildcard Free being the next pick. This is Veloce's time to try and seal things to be able to ensure they get match point. But at the same time, there is still a chance for Stereotype to at least fight back. They just need to try and ante up on the consistency factor by quite a fair margin to be able to tackle Veloce here, because they know that they can at least tackle Veloce on some of these maps. So they're going to have to at least try and win off this map and then throw out some of their wins on some other maps as well that could be within their field as well. This one is a lot more similar to maps such as Black Princess, for example. So this can definitely be some weakness for certain players, but at the same time, I've seen players that have been thriving off this map alone as well.
Yeah, this map, as you mentioned, Black Princess, you really can see that intro. Very, very physical. The Eldon's particularly not very complex, mostly within that 1-4, but those shields catching Stereotype off guard, and it just keeps going. Oh my goodness. This is Veloce's bread and butter.
Exactly, and a prime opportunity for Veloce to be able to try and seal the map quickly, because Stereotype gonna be taking yet another drop right there. That's not gonna be the best signal for them, because they really need to try and at least manage the combo that of Veloce and to be able to not miss as much, because if anything, this only makes it all the more easier for Veloce to make a relatively clean match for them as well if they want to be able to advance to the conditionals tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. But at the moment, Veloce absolutely dominating this map. 99.86 in semifinals. Ooh. Stereotype doing all they can, really. Now managing to stabilize a little bit more. Never mind. That is another miss from Stereotype. I'm sorry. But yeah, these bombardments of patterning, it literally does not stop. And it's apparent they're running out of stamina now.
I think the fatigue is basically just kicked in at this point. Oh my god. As much as I hate to say it, it is looking really bad. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, looking really bad. What much can you do here? These top 8 players, they have these seedings for a reason. They are so consistent and they can just sharpshoot all of these maps very easily. You really need to go the extra mile to just get a potential point against these people. And a short break, a well-needed break for these players. Another miss for Stereotype, but the lead now approaching 30,000. What much can you do?
I mean, honestly, when you are down by this much pressure, I think pretty much majority of the options on the board would have run out at this point, but who knows? There's really just like a bit of this map left, but at the same time, I feel like at this point the map is basically already over. 30,000 points, and it's going to be incredibly hard to recover all of that unless Veloce just disconnects, for example, in which obviously we can't opt for that. Even if that one missed there, that's not even going to mean anything.
Yeah, once again, very clean miss. As you mentioned, this map is pretty much sealed already. We have this softer outro or not, it's just a nice cut. But that will be Veloce's... What the...
One great? What?
What is this Jack score? No,
dude.
don't do that.
No.
Okay. Amazing score by Veloce, even with that 2 misses. Stereotype actually doing really well himself. You can see that 200 versus miss count. they are able to play these kinds of maps, just as good as Veloce here.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the thing that's just really scary about both these players in general, or at least like just when it comes to these matches in general, where you just have players that literally bring out their worst, and that is exactly what other players are going to capitalize off of. This is literally where the blood runs out of the body here, and we're going to be seeing this as the final pick, as the final potential pick comes out from the Stereotype.
Why are they
going
so
into Tech 2?
Take a break, guys. Literally, these people, non-stop. Once the map is done, just go straight into the next one.
Yep. That's just, I mean, this is a very common theme that you see with a lot of these 1v1 matches in general, but I think it's just because they don't have anyone else to watch, so that they can just like head straight in, like literally just dive in head first to a match without having to go in without any repercussions, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, Tech 2 picked by Stereotype, one of the less physical maps. All eyes are on them now. 5-0 deficit, but still a sliver of hope.
Yeah, indeed. This map is definitely a lot more dump-oriented and contrarian to all the other tech maps that we have. This one is a collab between me, Seimitsu, and Felix Beta, as I mentioned, and it is definitely a map that gets a little dense depending on like the sections here, where you do have like some of these really odd like bursts as well, some of these flams as well that you really need to try and act. But so far, it seems like we might actually see some weakness from Veloce having come out. Now that they are actually releasing a little earlier than usual, bleeding out some greats and misjudges, as Stereotype is now in the forefront of the focuses here by about 2,000 points.
Yeah, this kind of map just really showcases one of his best skill sets. These very awkward releases, Ellen Graces, is just very used to it, but Veloce accuracy will always slowly climb back up. And Stereotype getting that small bad misjudgment here. Now the lead's very, very close.
Yeah, that's definitely not a good sign, because we have seen from Stereotype time and time again going out throughout this match alone where they have been choking unintentionally on a lot of these sections, which just patterns that in general that really challenge your discomfort for a lot of these patterns, especially on the more technical side of things, where it really puts that anchor in your score lead, and that's exactly something that Stereotype wants to be able to minimize as much as possible going into this map alone.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, Veloce slowly creeping up behind Stereotype. Now the lead is 0.02. Last third of the map remaining. These technical bursts, technical dumps does not stop. Stereotype needs to hold on for dear life, or tournament life right now.
Yeah, Stereotype just needs to do what they can to ensure they can get the FC, because as long as they have an attack, then they can at least have a fair shot of being able to take the victory. But if we see a miss come out right now,
Don't say that.
Be over.
Don't say that.
500 points. No. Come on, please. Stereotype needs to do this. They need to get at least 1 point. Please do it for me. Do it for me, man. Come on.
Approaching the last 6 of the map. Less than 20,000 points left. Veloce dropping a little bit. It still is Stereotype.
Oh,
last bombardments of maps.
No. This can't be it. It's really close right now. Only a few hundred points in the map is just about to close out. The accuracy is only separated by 0.01%. As even while players are recovering, they're doing their best to ensure they can get the point, but it's just a few hundred points on the side of the Stereotype. Has he done it?
He has done it. 297 points is the difference. Oh my goodness. It's the ratio.
Oh,
the ratio of Stereotype carrying him. And he's still in this match. Both insanely crazy FCs. I have no words, Epic Man.
It was so close, and it was the perfect time for Stereotype to at least get a point in their favor, because they've been doing their best throughout the whole match so far, and getting that 1 point so far. It's now the pressure on Stereotype that's starting to wear down, going into the next tech pick being thrown out by none other than what I believe is gonna be Veloce's pick. Oh god.
Yeah, and oh my god, I can talk about this pick. I'm the reason this pick
Oh.
exists.
Oh yes,
This
you
is
can.
definitely one of the most physical maps in this map pool, and being almost 4 minutes. This is like almost a nail in the coffin for Stereotype, picking such a brutal map.
Literally. But at the same time, we have seen this type of story time and time again where we have seen reverse sweeps when the other player was down by way too much, honestly.
Yeah, it even already happened in this tournament if I remember correctly. But we have
Yeah.
no time to contemplate. Once again, these players already starting on the next map.
Yeah, exactly. This map does start off relatively straightforward. It has so many streams, so many rice parents, but it really ramps up once you head into the courses where it really allows all hell to break loose, especially some of these really less orthodox patterns that you just have that kind of dump the neurofunk sounds that are incorporated within the song itself.
And that was fine, okay. Yeah, you're right. This intro already throwing you these bombardments of very unorthodox elements, but this entire map is just a whole build-up non-stop. And so far, both players really able to hit these more comfortably because it's like sporadics of denser patterns instead of non-stop.
Indeed.
And oh my gosh, we can't do this again. It's so close.
Yeah, exactly. Both players still have the FC intact. It's really just Stereotype doing what they can to ensure they can get more points in their favor while they are down by a whole 4 amount of points, because the only option they have is to try and force the tiebreaker, because they want to be able to try and ensure they can stay in the conditionals bracket here, while Veloce is still ahead by so much as the window of opportunity is just really small. Even if we can see that both players are still vulnerable to any of these destructions, it's just scary.
They both hit the inverse section.
Oh,
okay.
Nice.
Okay, this build up, this is not a break section. They really need to watch out, not drop any 200s. It just gets denser and denser in this build up.
This is where tension begins to progress as the map goes on. This is where we get some tight releases. And then we get this section.
Here we go.
Oh my god, here we go. Here we go.
Now all hell breaks loose. It just keeps going towards the end of the map.
Exactly. Final third of the map remaining. There's still a lot of time for both of these players to at least ensure they can get at least something on this end and to be able to bleed out a bit as well as as if performing CPR on that wound here. But we see Stereotype with a glimmer of hope, just a few hundred points in their favor, but at the same time, it's a very unsafe lead in their favor.
Yeah, these players will definitely start dropping accuracies, but the combo matters here. It's the combo game right now. And you see these like faster bursts coming in and out. And we have this last speed section.
Oh.
And they hit it! No!
They hit it!
No, it can't be this close!
It's flickering! It's flickering! No. This can't be it.
Please.
Come on.
The map's still not over. There is still some of these random releases. Oh no, there's a 200 from Stereotype.
No more grades, please! Don't do this! You cannot be doing this. It's the final burst. 350 points!
No. What? Again, 350, and once again is the ratio from Stereotype. Absolutely bonkers. A whole 200 normal perfects less than Veloce right now.
Oh my god.
Gosh.
The fact that we went through 2 of the technical maps and it was only just about nearly the same amount of point difference to get Stereotype their first initial points they were going to be needing to at least ensure safety cushion in their favor. It's really just looking scary if this is going to be the prestige for the rest of the match here.
Yeah, Stereotype really showing everyone once again that they are a top player. They can come back here. You would expect these score differences to be on the density, like a straightforward density, not this absolutely monstrous technical pick.
Exactly, and
Oh
As,
my, oh gosh.
as we can
No,
see in the
stop.
IRC. Oh my god, that's all
No.
the tech map's gone.
And
It's an
oh my god, I cannot. Now we're going into this map.
Exactly.
It makes, okay, all hype aside, it makes sense. It really makes sense. Stereotype has been able to just slightly get better score in these technical maps.
We've seen
no
Veloce
brainer.
doing what they could to at least ensure they can at least end the match early on. Their middle finger is literally being tortured, as they mentioned, but he is literally the type of person to show that middle finger in the faces of those that doubt him. So it's really just down to him to try and ensure he can at least win off this map. But Stereotype has been fighting back finally, being able to prove that he is not someone you can simply scoff at here.
Yeah, and this map, I can once again talk about this map. Absolute horror of a map to be consistent on. It's so easy to get bad judgments. And here we go. This
First
very
grade comes out
awkward
from Veloce.
rhythm. Yeah, Veloce just on a wrong, not even bad start, just a lower start compared to Stereotype. But we have seen throughout this entire match, they will climb back. They will come back. It's all up to Stereotype if they can hold on the combo.
Yeah, as long as both these, as long as any of these players have a way to bounce back when they are under a ton of pressure, then it is exactly what matters the most for them. As we see Veloce choking a bit, not being able to fare well on any of these abstract patterns as well as Stereotype is. It's really just ahead by about 3,000 points in the favor of Stereotype, but these patterns only get a lot more uncomfortable here. And the first miss comes out from Stereotype. It's gonna start flickering again.
Yeah, those drills absolutely nasty, but he has the accuracy lead. Veloce dropped a lot of accuracy in that first half. Back to 400 combo. Now the lead will be 2,000 points.
Exactly. This is looking really unsafe for both these players. They have to do what they can to try and ensure they have the best performance possible, but at the same time, the map only gets a lot more unconventional from here on, as we have some shields and these jacks thrown in as well for extra measure. We see the fact that Veloce is thriving off the map now, being able to have that score gap that Stereotype had earlier on going into the final quarter. This is where we have even tighter releases, and it's still relatively close. It's still anyone's game as long as Veloce takes a drop.
Yeah, Veloce just able to control that 200 counts throughout this. Oh, but that's a miss. That's a miss throughout that dense section. And
that's
that will give Stereotype the chance. Yeah, that is a brutal one. Very awkward to hit. And these kills.
No!
No!
No! The combo cap! The difficulty's gone!
Oh no! Stereotype
it might be it!
At the very end of that trill.
Oh my god! No!
And this
he just about had it as well!
Oh, that is so tragic.
Oh my... I'm at a loss for words right now.
Oh, the ratio. Oh my goodness. It's literally the ratio difference.
Had it not been for those two misses from Stereotype, this could have been it. Because they had the same grades, and Stereotype won the ratio battle, but it's just the chokes that ended their career.
Yeah, they must be feeling absolutely terrible with that last choke. But that'll be it, folks. That will be 6-2 Veloce taking the win in this absolutely insane match. And Stereotype, very great performance, but unfortunately will be out of this tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Stereotype has put in a lot of effort and a lot of willpower to ensure they could get this far in the LN tournament this year. But unfortunately, despite getting so many sweeps and a bunch of names in their favor, or at least a bunch of names just collected, it's unfortunately going to be Veloce that is the taste of their own medicine here.
Yeah, for sure. And for Veloce, oh my goodness, Veloce will be facing the winner of Konkawa versus Naito.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely stacked. Stacked losers bracket.
Legit. The tournament only gets a lot more difficult from here.
Yeah, actually, that is the upcoming match. Konkave versus Naito. In about a little over an hour, I think. Wait, no. Still a few hours away.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
so
my goodness. What a match. And all these upcoming matches are equally as insane.
yeah, indeed. Good thing is, though, at least we have a bit of a break to be able to breathe from what we have just witnessed over the past few matches or so. So definitely do take your Walters, and I guess that should be it for this match alone. This has been a pretty dense fight, and there was a lot of potential that we have seen from both players to be able to make the match the way it was, but you know, what could have been saved for another day. So besides from that, we hope you look forward to the next matches. And Leon, do you have anything else you'd like to add on before we close the stream off as well?
Oh, just once again, amazing match. Both these players can hold their heads up high. They fought really well. And as you mentioned, we will be taking quite a substantial break here to recoup, to relax for the next matches. So be sure to tune back in at 16 UTC, and that'll be it from me.
Yup, and that'll be it from me as well. So once again, we hope you all enjoyed the match that you watched, and this will be Epic Man 2 and Leon signing off. See you next time, everyone.
Signing off. See you.